What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Cinema with Jahari. And today I'm gonna be ranking the Spider-Man movies. I'm also gonna be having the newest Villainverse movies, the three Spider Villainverse movies that came out last year. And also I'm also gonna have the Miles Morales movies as well in there. So yes, let's get into today's video. Enjoy. Surprising absolutely nobody for the worst Spider-Man movie or Spider Villainverse movie is Draven the Hunter. Yeah, this movie sucks. I don't like this movie at all. This is by far the worst that comes out of the Spider-Man universe. Just the worst. This is one of the worst comic book movies ever made. One of the worst movies of last year. Just this movie is just a train wreck. I talked about it ad nauseum so far. This movie, what else can I say about the movie and the next movie coming up? This movie just not very good. The dialogue's horribly written. The script is terrible. Just everything is terrible about this movie. So yeah. 16, Craven the Hunter. 15 is gonna be Madam Web, another movie that really sucks. One like Craven the Hunter, one of the worst comic book movies ever made. Like tied for being the one of the worst, definitely in the top 10 for worst comic book movies ever made. I mean, this movie is just a bad example in this universe. I'm so shocked how bad this movie was. Like, this is a disgrace to this universe. It's such a shame that these two exist. Just like when they ever do make a fourth Spider-Man movie, I don't know if you don't even know. We don't even know if we want to see these movies because any of these characters in these movies because they really are not really good. I'm pretty sure they're gonna ruin the movie. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed in just Sony right now with this universe. I mean, trust me, this is not all I'm gonna talk about. There's some way better movies above, but so far, Madam Web and Craven the Hunter are down here, right there, down there. So yes, 15, Madam Web. 14 is gonna be Morbius. Morbius. I mean, when this came out, I thought this movie was gonna be okay. My mom wanted me to go see it. She was very intrigued, and when I walked out of the theater, I was like, "Wow, this movie wasn't. This movie kind of this movie really wasn't that good as I thought it was gonna be, and I thought maybe on second watch I might like it just a little bit more, and it got worse. Woof, man, this movie is not good at all. First off, the dialogue is very messy. This is how when comic book movies are very good, the dialogue is especially going to be messy. I mean, the character of Morbius sounds interesting, but on screen he isn't. I mean, the actor, he's okay at best, but he's not very well done. You'll see that the villain's pretty interesting, but near the end he's just not that. He's not one of the best villains. I mean, yeah. I mean, Morbius. I mean, when I saw it the second time, I was like, man, this one is one of the worst comic movies I've ever seen in a number of years. But then then the other two I just talked about, I was like, oh no, Morbius. This looks like one of the worst, one of the best comic movies ever made. But compared to those two, but no, Morbius is not good at all. So 14, Morbius. Alright, 13 is gonna be Venom the Last Dance. Yeah, it was between Morbius and this movie that I had tied for 14, but I decided Venom had a few things about it that kind of edged out Morbius. But like I've said about Morbius, it kind of do a disservice to the character of Venom a little bit. I'm not a fan of the script at all. I mean, they do some good things with it, like with Venom and some like carnage with Venom, like him going completely crazy. And Tom Hardy does what he could. It's just that that's kind of one of the reasons why I haven't bought more, because at least I feel like that Tom Hardy kind of did a better job than what that guy who did with Morbius. But anyway, then the Last Stand, same problems with Morbius and some of the movies below it. Just messy script, messy dialogue. That's all. That's all can make a pretty bad comic book movie. But 13, Venom: The Last Dance. 12. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Now, I have this one slightly above the most recent Venom film is because I do think there's more things here that I like. There's more. Venom is going crazy. I love Tom Hardy here. He does what he could in this role as well. He delivers what he could, and I feel like he does a pretty good job. That's it. And some good Carnage crazy Venom moments, but that's really it. Other than that, nothing else here that I really care for. Really, this is just another generic bad comic book movie. Really, I mean, this came out. I mean, I wasn't that big on the first Venom movie, which you're gonna see just a few spots high, maybe two. But yeah, this film is okay at best, mediocre at best, pretty bad, but not as bad as not as bad as the four I just talked about. But anyway, 12 Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Coming in at number 11 is going to be the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, I do think one of the few best things about this movie is that I think that Andrew Garfield is a great Spider-Man. I do think that well, not great, good Spider-Man. I do think that his chemistry with his version of Mary Jane Watson is great. That's the best part of these movies. I do think some of the action sequences here are solid, but they're not as good as Tobey Maguire's. And well, be honest with you, I just think the story is a complete mess. It's kind of a show that's kind of a mess, you know. They try to shove in so many ideas in this movie, like what they were trying to shove in. They're trying to shove in Electro. I think they were trying to shove in a goblin, many other villains in this movie, and it just didn't work. This movie is kind of a mess. I mean, it's better than the movies that are below it, much better, but still not a movie I really like very much. I used to love it when I was younger, but not no more. It kind of fall way down. But anyway, coming at 11 is going to be The Amazing Spider-Man 2. 10 is going to be the original Venom movie. This movie is halfway decent. It's pretty decent. I like a couple things, like Tom Hardy's Venom. I think he's great. I do love the action sequences between Venom. The way how he controls Tom Hardy was great here. Some good CGI work. Not all of it, but mostly good CGI. Good CGI, good CGI work. What holds this movie back is just it's another generic movie, and when it came out, it was kind of a disappointment for me. Yeah, so yeah. It's better than the sequels by a landslide, but it's way better than the sequels. But this movie that's it's not the best. I mean, I like it better than Amazing Spider-Man 2 because at least it tries to do. At least they don't try to shove in so many storylines. That's why I can adjust this one much better. But anyway, 10 Venom. Coming in at number 9, the last of me being kind of negative, not really, but number 9 is going to be the original Amazing Spider-Man movie. The one with Andrew Garfield, the very first one with him. This one is much better than the sequel. It's still not a great movie. It's still like a halfway decent movie. I like it more than Venom is because they don't try to shove in many things like the sequel does, and they stay more focused on what they're trying to do here. Most for the most part. Andrew Garfield and his version of Mary Jane Watson are great. They're incredible. I love their chemistry. It's fantastic. I do think him as Spider-Man, he's really cool. His action skills are pretty awesome. But I just don't really like his version of Peter Parker all that much because he feels kind of douchey. I don't like that version. I like he feels like the one that the teachers cannot stand being in the classroom. I don't like that version of Peter Parker. I mean, we got that in another entry, but I mean, I'm not a really big fan of this movie, not very much, but I still think it's like a decent movie. It's fine. I like things about it. I have a couple things I don't like about it, but overall, it's half and half. It's 50-50. It's a decent movie. So coming in at number 9 is going to be the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Spider-Man 3, the Tobey Maguire version of Spider-Man 3. Now, I really like this movie more than most people. I do like Tobey Maguire as always. I feel like him playing the Peter Parker, him being the one that's kind of evolved into like the Venom persona, him trying to calling out Mary Jane on her being really mean and stuff, acting kind of entitled and all that stuff. I feel like that's great, and I really enjoy, of course, action sequences with Spider-Man, of course. I love the story with Harry losing his ring and he eventually comes out of that. I feel like that's a great story as well. Overall, I do think this movie is very good, but this movie has its issues. First of all, they try to shove in so many stories in this movie, so many plots. Like, I think Sony wanted Venom, and they wanted something else as well. They kept shoving it on the screen and just shoving it. They wanted Sandman and Venom, and it didn't go right together. What they were trying to do here, for the most part, was pretty good. I do like it was a nice closure for this version. The ending was a nice closure. But yeah, I like this movie more than most people. I do think it's the worst out of the original three movies, but it's still a fun time. So 8 is gonna be Spider-Man 3. Top 7. 7 is gonna be Spider-Man Homecoming. Yes, the Tom Holland version. I really enjoyed this movie when it first came out. When I watched it at home, I was like, it wasn't as good as I remember it being, but still very good. I think Tom Holland is fantastic as Spider-Man. I love his version. He's my favorite version. I feel like he blends in each version that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. He blended in both nicely. I really enjoy Tony Stark being his mentor. I do really enjoy Vulture as a villain. I feel like that Michael Keaton does fantastic as that. He's an awesome villain. I love the web swinging that Tom Holland does. I feel like they balance that very nicely. And the only issues I have with this movie is that they make him kind of too. They kind of make him like an Iron Man Jr. Because really, Spider-Man was really known for just being just a normal dude. He didn't need all them. He didn't need all that gadgets. He didn't need more Iron Man gadgets. He just used his web swinging and his awesome fighting skills. He didn't need Iron Man. But yeah, that's the only issue. They kind of made him kind of like the Iron Man Jr. a little bit in this movie. But anyway, besides that, I think this movie is nice done. I really enjoyed this movie. So coming in at number 7 is going to be Spider-Man Homecoming. Coming in at number 6, just above Homecoming, is going to be Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one slightly more. I really enjoy the comedy a lot more. I really enjoy some of the action sequences much more. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, he is awesome. I love that guy in this movie. I do like the chemistry between Tom Holland and Zendaya. I think that's her name. I think Mysterio is a great villain, like Vulture. Not as good as Vulture, but he's very good though. They really nail their villains. They really do, and I feel like they really nail it. I do think that bringing in a few of our superheroes in this movie was nice and clever. I like seeing a few cameos. So yeah, I really enjoy Far From Home. I liked it slightly better than Homecoming. Probably because I really enjoy a lot of the comedic moments by Happy. He's hilarious. I just really enjoyed this movie. It's one of the better it's one of the better Spider-Man movies, as you see up here at number 6. So number 6 is gonna be Spider-Man Far From Home. Bringing home at the top 5. These top 5 I think are movies I think are pretty fantastic. And coming in at number 5 is going to be No Way Home. Best out of the three by a landslide. I feel like they improved a few things. I think I love Tom Holland even better as much as I did in the first two. A lot of core emotional moments here that could make you cry. I feel like Doctor Strange. He's a much better character here. He's kind of the villain, but he's kind of helping out as well. I really like him here. I really enjoy the multiverse aspect. I feel like they really nail it in this one. As a film, I'm gonna get to much later, but I also think that bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, which is a great move. They were all great. I feel like their closure to the story was just heartwarming, and it was nice to say goodbye to them. And it was also very sad for the death of Aunt May. That was very emotional as well. So really, this movie gets a lot of things right, then it gets wrong. So yes, I really, really love this movie. So coming in at number 5 is gonna be No Way Home. Coming in at number four is going to be the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. I love this movie. This one defined the comic book genre. This is one of the films I did. Tobey Maguire is one of the best Spider-Mans. He's my second favorite. I prefer Tom Holland, but he's not far behind him. He's just great. He transforms to the nerd, then he transforms to the cool guy. He turns into Spider-Man. I love his personality here. Like, he's just amazing how he made this character his own. I think Willem Dafoe is a fantastic Green Goblin. He's the best Spider-Man villain in my eyes. I feel like Uncle Ben's death was one of the saddest comic deaths in comic book history. I feel like his relationship between Peter was very nice and it was emotional. It's just very sad. This one really gets you in the emotions, and I feel like that his other relationships with Mary Jane and Harry, those are very great as well. So yes, the original Spider-Man is just a timeless comic book film. This one has great action sequences between Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe and everything. This movie just has it all in a comic book film. This movie is just great, and it comes in at number four. Coming in at number three is gonna be the sequel, Spider-Man 2. You got everything improved slightly more in the first film. You got another incredible villain. You have what's his name? Yeah, he's the best version of Doc Ock. I love that character. He's one of by far the best parts of the movie. I love Peter Parker here even more. Like, he's even more action packed. The iconic train scene is just so iconic. One of the best action comic book sequences of all time. The relationship between Peter trying to get with MJ is really good. I feel like that the girl who plays first Mary Jane. I feel like I like her here. She gets kind of a little whiny in three, but I do still like her very good here. She's good here. Some issues with maybe how things play out in the script, maybe, but that's only a small little nitpick. Otherwise, this film is absolutely fantastic. One of the greatest comic book movies ever made. Definitely in the top 10. But yes, coming in at number three is gonna be Spider-Man 2. And let's not mention that Sam Raimi just knows how to make incredible comic book movies. I really wish he came back, and he did for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse. But anyway, 3, Spider-Man 2. Number 2, the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time, the second best. It's gonna be, surprisingly, it's gonna be Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. This film is just magnificent. It's awesome. The animation is stellar. It's incredible. I love the computer generated aspects, how they make a glitchy effect. I just love the animation. Everyone loves this animation. It's mind blowing. The characters are very cool, like Miles, like Peter B. Parker. You got another version of Spider-Man, which I think that those versions of Spider-Man are unique. They have different personalities. I like that. I love the versions of the Spider-Mans we get. I love the story about Miles and the Prowler and how he has to deal with some things with his dad and all that stuff, and dealing with responsibilities at school. It's just a coming of age movie, in my opinion. That this movie could be number one, but the sequel kind of topped it. But anyway, coming in at number two is gonna be Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Just an incredible movie. So number one, the best Spider-Man movie of all time. Probably everyone's popular answer is gonna be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. What else has been said about this movie? The animation is mind-blowing. I just love the animation. It keeps the effects. It keeps you awake through the 2.5 hour ride. I feel like the characters have a lot more to do. I feel like the subplot between Gwen and her dad, that was very intriguing. That was very interesting to follow her because, we got hints of it in the first film about, her best friend dying, about Peter. And I'm glad in this film we got more about that. I thought that was a nice subplot. I thought the Miles story was even better in this movie. Him doing more responsibilities, conflict with his parents, about him being on time and stuff. It's a very heartfelt movie. You got a lot of messages in here, and I really feel like that exploring the multiverse and everything was just very fun and fantastic. Like we get more different versions of Spider-Man, which I found very fun and very funny and clever. It was such a fun ride. While I feel like that this movie is basically flawless, one thing about this movie is it's part of a half story. It's a part has the part one problem where we have to wait. We do not know when Beyond the Spider Verse is coming out, and I really hate to wait that long because they leave on a cliffhanger, which I feel like is the best. That almost knocked it down to number two, but I feel like what the 2.5 hour experience gave me, I feel like it's enough to give it the number one spot. But anyway, coming in at number one is going to be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I really hope you enjoy my ranking today of the Spider-Man movies. This is really fits for the three villain verse movies we had, but I feel like it would be fun to rank all the Spider-Man movies. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.